Hello class, welcome to week 2. Thanks for your videos. Some of you were very nervous about how you came off, and guess what? It was perfect. It's exactly what I wanted you all to do, not because I wanted to torture you or anything, but because it's easier to have an online writing community when we can see that there's a human behind the name, behind the post. And so so thank you all for posting. For some of you, I've been teaching online classes for some time and I've never seen your face. It was like, oh, cool. So it was kind of nice to see, you know, that you're human, that you're alive, and not a bot. Question mark? Anyway, so that was really good. So thank you all for doing that and for putting up with that. You won't have to do it again for some time. I believe it's week 5 we post on the ocean at the end of the lane, so you have some time. This was also kind of an opportunity for you to see what technology works for you and what doesn't. If this didn't work for you, then you have like 5 weeks to figure out like what you need to do better. And I'm happy to give you tips and pointers. Just shoot me an email and we can dialogue through that. Other things, your syllabus contracts all came through fine. Your pre-assessment surveys all came through. So yeah, so that's done. And so now we can focus on the class. Like this is, I love week 2 because it's like we can get all the introductory stuff out of the way and now we can focus on why we're here. So week 2, let me just open my screen here so I can see it. You have a couple things due. First of all is the pre-assessment survey due today at noon. I believe all of you have turned it in. But if you haven't, then you have a couple of hours to get that done. I've been getting a lot of questions about your week 2 writing post in conjunction with submission 1. So let me talk about submission 1 to start with. Your submission 1 is due Monday, September 3rd at noon. This is your 15-page long short story for this class. You will be working on this short story to rewrite passages, you know, eventually to rewrite the whole thing. But this is the story you will work with for this semester. That's due on Monday the 3rd, so that's a week from today. To that end, this week's writing post is to kind of brainstorm. Now, I don't mean brainstorm as in, you know, type, I think I'm going to write about this, yada, yada, yada. Instead, I want to give you 250 to 750 words to write what will eventually end up in that draft due on Monday. Now, you can approach this a couple of different ways. If you have not even started it yet, if you haven't even started that short story, then this could be a great opportunity for you to start it, right? So I'm giving you an opportunity to kind of double dip a little bit because I want you to think about it and get those ideas rolling. Let's say you've started the short story, but you haven't finished it. So then this 250 to 750 words could be the end of it, or the middle, or whatever. Maybe you rewrite the beginning, right? So it's an opportunity for you to continue to work with it. Let's say that you have already written your 15-page story because you are a rock star and you just go like that. It's totally understandable. Like, I would probably have already started it by now. You can just cut and paste if you want to. I mean, cut and paste is perfectly fine. Of course, I don't want self-plagiarism on the long end, but at least, you know, I mean, if you've already written it, there's no sense to rewrite it, unless you want to. If you rewrite it, it will always be better. I promise you that. So you can rewrite it and see if, you know, maybe that works. But your week 2 post due on Friday is a fraction of the overall short story, which is due on Monday. So I hope that clarifies things a bit better because a couple of you have emailed me about it, which is totally fine, but this is an opportunity for me to talk about it to the whole class. So, so yeah, the post that's due on Friday is a fraction of the 15-page long short story. And so this is, the heart behind this is that you have the opportunity to kind of try on the story for size before you commit to the one project for the full semester. So that's what it is. The other discussion board post is a reading, The Last Chang Bang Gift by Jamie Go. And if you go on to any of the short story posts, you'll see that I give you the author bio, so you get a sense of who the author is, and then why are we studying, and then the author's name, so that you understand kind of how this story fits into our class. Then I have a link for the story where you can read it. Some of them are redirected to a web page, some of them are redirected to a PDF. It just kind of depends on the story. And then the instructions for the post. So for this one, please respond to the story in this discussion board post. Please don't simply state whether you liked it or didn't like it and why. So you can say that, but don't only say that. But move deeper to analyze components of storytelling. All of you have taken prereqs to get into this class, and the prereq was likely short story writing, so you should kind of know how to respond to a short story. Meditate on features like POV, plotting, characterization, dialogue, pacing, setting, etc. Your post should be 250 to 750 words, pretty standard. Finding something interesting to say about the writing of the short story. You can always discuss what about this short story you can learn and apply to writing your own short story. So I don't know about you, but when I was in grad school, I had to read a lot. I mean, it's an MFA in creative writing. Of course I had to read a lot. But we had to read a book a week and write an essay a week on that book. And we had to meditate on features like POV, plotting, characterization, dialogue, etc. And probably one of the best things I got out of those essays was I learned how to take what I've read and channel it into my own writing. So you can say something like, the content of this story isn't really the kind of thing I would write about, but I like the structure of it. I like that it's written in first person. I like that it's broken up into small sections, because little bite-sized pieces make it easier for me to process my own story, something like that. Your response is due Friday the 31st at 5 p.m. with one reply due Sunday, September 2nd at 5 p.m. And then, here's the best part. I'm very excited about this. Because I believe in differentiation, some of you are really good with reading and responding, but I feel like since an online course is only ever reading and responding, I like to mix it up. So at the bottom of each reading post, I have a link to LeVar Burton Reads. And it's a podcast I listen to. I listen to it on my phone. So I don't know if you have an iPhone, but I have this purple little podcast link, so I can tap on the link and it brings up my podcasts, and his is one that you can subscribe to on your phone and you can listen to these stories, or you can just follow the link that I've provided and listen to those stories read aloud. I think he does a really great job with it because there's like music in the background, and he paces himself really well. He's a very good storyteller. For any of you millennials, you might remember him as Reading Rainbow, which I loved. So I like to say that LeVar Burton Reads is Reading Rainbow, but for adults. You know, like it's like his career grew up with us or something. Anyway, so if you want to, you don't have to, but if you want to, you can choose to listen to the story rather than to just read it. So yeah, it's an option. So yeah, I think that's it for week 2. You'll notice on Canvas that I provided the assignment link to turn in your short story on both the week 2 module and the week 3. It's not strictly due until week 3, but I provided it under week 2 so that if you wanted to turn it in sometime this week or this weekend, you're welcome to. I always recommend that you try to turn in work as early as possible. I mean, I'm realistic. I know that you're not going to turn it in like today, right? But, technology's weird and stuff will happen if you wait to the last minute, as some of you found out with the PDF. So, and that's totally fine. Like, if you turned in the PDF, you're good. But please plan for things to go wrong. I feel like it's kind of like when you were in driver's ed and your teacher said, it's not a matter of if you'll get a flat tire, it's when you'll get a flat tire, right? So yeah, so always turn that work in as early as possible, and then you can always email me to double check that I got it if you're worried about that too. Righto. So I'm looking forward to week 2 right away, and if you have any questions, be sure to email me. All right, thank you.